In the solitary world between the ceaseless sea and the safety of our shores stands the Lighthouse Keeper, a silent sentinel in the face of nature's fury. These towers, perched on the edge of the world, have been the setting for some of the most mysterious disappearances in maritime history. Lighthouse keepers, the unsung heroes of the seas, have long guided mariners away from peril, ensuring safe passage through treacherous waters. Their role in maritime history is not just significant, but also fascinating. But what happens when the keeper themselves vanishes into thin air, leaving behind only questions shrouded in the sea spray? Today, we delve into the chilling tales of 10 lighthouse keepers who disappeared without a trace. Each story is a puzzle, a deep dive into the unknown where the boundaries between fact and folklore blur, leaving us to wonder what eerie forces might lurk beyond the dim horizon. These are not just tales of men and women who vanished. They are stark reminders of the isolation and the awe-inspiring role these guardians play. Alone against the vastness of the ocean, their duties were not just crucial, but a testament to human resilience and dedication, ensuring the safety of those at sea and the families awaiting their return on shore. Join us as we step into the twilight zone of maritime lore, exploring enigmas that remain unsolved to this day. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of the sea? Our journey into the unknown begins on the remote and desolate Flannan Isles, off the rugged west coast of Scotland. Here stands the Eilean Mor Lighthouse, the site of one of the most baffling mysteries in maritime history. In December 1900, 3 lighthouse keepers disappeared from this isolated outpost, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a legend that haunts the Isles to this day. The keepers, named Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur, were seasoned mariners, tasked with maintaining the beacon that guided ships safely past the perilous waters. But their routine duty turned into a puzzling enigma when a relief boat arrived to find the lighthouse eerily abandoned. The only evidence of disorder was an overturned chair, an unused oilskin indicating one keeper had left in a hurry without it, and the lighthouse logs, which revealed nothing unusual up to their chilling last entries. The final log entries spoke of severe storms and unprecedented waves, yet weather reports from nearby islands recorded no such severe conditions at the time. This puzzling contradiction only deepened the mystery. Did the men get swept away by a rogue wave, or was something more sinister at play? Despite extensive searches, no trace of the keepers was ever found, leaving their fate to be the subject of endless speculation and haunting folklore. Over a century later, the Flannan Isles Lighthouse stands as a silent witness to their disappearance, a somber reminder of the ocean's unforgiving nature and the enduring mystery of those who once watched over its waves. From the misty shores of Scotland, we travel to the rugged coastlines of Maine, where the Seguin Island Lighthouse holds its own dark secrets. In the winter of 1972, a lighthouse keeper vanished under mysterious circumstances, his disappearance preceded by weeks of unsettling behavior that puzzled those around him. The keeper, John Anderson, had been tending to the Seguin Light for several years without incident. However, in the months leading up to his disappearance, visitors and passing sailors reported that John exhibited signs of intense strain and paranoia. His diary entries, recovered after his vanishing, spoke of unexplained noises, shadowy figures in the night, and a growing sense of dread that something or someone was watching him from the sea. One chilling entry detailed a night when John claimed to hear his name called out over the roar of the waves, only to find no one there when he braved the storm to investigate. These accounts culminated in his final entry, ominously left incomplete, a sentence abandoned mid-thought, as if he were suddenly pulled away from his writing. Did the isolation of the lighthouse amplify John's fears until they manifested into something real? Or was there truly something sinister at play, lurking in the dense fog and crashing waves? Like the keepers of Eilean Mor, John Anderson's fate remains a mystery, his story a haunting reminder of the psychological toll exacted by the lonely vigil of lighthouse keeping. Seguin Island today remains a beacon for ships and a symbol of solitude, its light still piercing through the darkest nights, guarding its secrets just as tightly as it guards the shores. Half a world away, on the remote shores of Australia, the low-light lighthouse holds a story that is as chilling as the cold ocean winds that buffet its sturdy walls. In the year 1909, a lighthouse keeper named Edward Gray and his family faced a mysterious fate that remains unsolved to this day. It was a seemingly ordinary evening when Edward, his wife Anne, and their 2 children sat down for dinner. The table was set, the lamp lit, and the evening's meal prepared. Yet, when relief keepers arrived for their scheduled shift change, they walked into a scene straight from a still life painting. The Gray family was nowhere to be found, their meals untouched, and no sign of struggle or hurried departure evident. The mystery deepened as investigators found the lighthouse logbook up to date, with Edward's last entry noting nothing more unusual than concerns about an approaching storm. Yet, the skies had remained clear that week, and locals reported seeing the lighthouse beam faithfully piercing the night until the family was discovered missing. What led the Grays to abandon their dinner and home, leaving behind all they owned? Was it fear, a sudden call to flee, or something more inexplicable? Like the fragments of a lost diary, their story leaves us with additional questions than answers. Today, the low light stands as a somber reminder of the ocean's mysteries and the thin line between the mundane and the unexplainable. The lighthouse continues its vigil over the waves, a silent guardian keeping watch over a story that slips further into the realms of legend with each passing year. In the year 1933, during the fierce monsoon season, another baffling mystery unfolded at the Old Mangalore Light on the southwestern coast of India. Here, not just one keeper, but the entire crew tasked with maintaining the lighthouse vanished without a trace. The monsoon had been particularly brutal that year, with winds howling like the cries of the lost mariners of lore and waves that threatened to swallow the land whole. The lighthouse was crucial during these months, a beacon of hope and safety in the relentless storm. When the storm finally abated, a relief boat made its way to the lighthouse, only to find the door flung open, the light extinguished, and no sign of the keepers. The only clue left behind was a logbook open to a page describing the storm's initial fury but abruptly ending mid-sentence, as though the writer had been urgently called away, or taken. The local villages buzzed with theories, from the believable, like a tragic sweep of the sea dragging them into watery depths, to the mystical, where old sailors whispered of spirits in the monsoon mists, claiming those who dare keep watch over the perilous waters. Despite thorough searches and investigations, no trace of the crew was ever found, and the mystery of the Old Mangalore Light remains unsolved. Like a tale from an ancient mariner, the story of the lighthouse crew blends into the fabric of local folklore, their fate a haunting narrative of nature's overwhelming power and the enigma of the sea. Cape Disappointment, a name as bleak as its weather, has been the backdrop for numerous shipwrecks and tales of maritime misfortune. It is here, in 1921, that a lighthouse keeper named George Clayton faced a fate as mysterious as the Cape's frequent fogs. George, known for his steadfastness and unshakable routine, was last seen maintaining the lighthouse as a particularly violent storm approached. The gale was fierce, with winds that could howl through the densest walls and waves that clawed at the very rocks the lighthouse stood on. When the storm abated, and the skies cleared, relief keepers arrived to find the lighthouse dark and deserted. George's quarters were left in order, his coat still hanging on the hook, and the logbook closed, a scene eerily untouched except for his absence. An extensive search ensued, scouring the coastline and the treacherous waters below, but no trace of George was ever uncovered. Theories abound. Did he fall victim to the storm, swept away by an unseen force? Or did something darker, drawn by the desolation and despair of Cape Disappointment, claim him? To this day, Cape Disappointment lives up to its name, holding tight to the secret of George Clayton's disappearance. The lighthouse still guards the coast, its beam a lone sentinel in the night, watching over a mystery that remains as impenetrable as the fog that often shrouds it. On a seemingly ordinary spring morning in 1968, the Plymouth Lighthouse became the center of a baffling mystery that still lingers in maritime lore. Two keepers, John Alder and Michael Thomas, vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but the sea's whisper and a diary entry as perplexing as their disappearance. The diary, usually a meticulous record of routine lighthouse duties, featured an unusual entry from the night before the men were found missing. It read, "Heaven is closer now than we think," a line both poetic and haunting, scribbled in shaky handwriting unlike the usual entries penned by the keepers. The following morning, the relief keeper arrived to find the main door locked from the inside, the lighthouse in perfect order, and the light extinguished. Despite the locked door, the quarters were eerily empty, the beds made, and no sign of struggle or hurried departure. The Coast Guard and local authorities launched a thorough investigation, but no plausible explanation surfaced. What did the enigmatic diary entry signify? Was it a premonition, a moment of transcendental clarity, or merely a poetic reflection on their isolated existence at the edge of the world? The disappearance of Alder and Thomas invites speculation to this day, feeding into the deep, cold mystery that the sea guards so jealously. As the sun sets on Plymouth's rugged coastline, the lighthouse continues its ceaseless vigil. The beam cuts through the night, a silent testament to the missing men and the enduring mystery they left behind. Here, at the confluence of human endeavor and nature's might, the line between the known and the unfathomable remains forever blurred. In the year 1892, the Ocracoke Light, one of the oldest lighthouses in the United States, became the scene of an unsettling disappearance. The keeper, Elliot Winslow, vanished, leaving behind only his boat, found adrift in the calm sea, as if silently narrating the untold story of its master's fate. Elliot was a dedicated keeper, known for his punctuality and the meticulous care he gave to the lighthouse. His sudden disappearance puzzled the local community, who knew him as a stalwart watcher of the waves and a man unlikely to abandon his post without grave reason. On the morning of his disappearance, the light was found extinguished for the first time in years, and Elliot's personal effects were arranged neatly in his quarters, his logbook completed and closed, as though he had prepared for a final departure. The only anomaly was his small rowboat, usually tethered securely, found drifting empty among the waves, no sign of Elliot to be found. The mystery deepened as no storm had been reported that night, and the seas had been unusually calm. Had Elliot willingly rowed into the vast, open waters, or had some unforeseen force drawn him out into the depths? The community speculated wildly, from tales of mermaid sirens to ghostly pirate ships luring him away. To this day, the Ocracoke Lighthouse continues to guide mariners safely past its shores, its light a beacon in the darkness, while the mystery of Elliot Winslow's fate remains as elusive as the shifting tides. The lighthouse stands not just as a navigational aid, but as a monument to the mysteries that are as much a part of these waters as the salt and the sea spray. Nestled on a narrow peninsula and surrounded by treacherous waters, the Point Stevens Lighthouse in Australia became the focal point of a baffling disappearance in 1935. This mystery was accompanied by phenomena as mystifying as the vanishing itself, unexplained lights witnessed along the shore. The lighthouse keeper, Charles Manning, was known for his steadfastness and commitment to his duties. However, one fateful evening, the routine of lightkeeping was shattered when Charles disappeared under enigmatic circumstances. On the same night, locals reported seeing strange lights dancing along the coastline, lights that moved with an eerie, unnatural motion and were unlike any known ship or natural phenomenon. When a search party was dispatched the following morning, they found the lighthouse in perfect operation, the logbook up to date, and Charles's quarters in order. The only trace of the keeper was a set of footprints leading down to the rocky shore, where they abruptly stopped, as if Charles had been lifted away by the mysterious lights themselves. The investigation yielded more questions than answers. No signs of foul play, no disturbances in the peaceful setting of the lighthouse, only the whispered tales of lights that some believed to be linked to Charles's disappearance. Were these luminous appearances extraterrestrial in nature, or merely a natural, yet undiscovered, atmospheric phenomenon? Today, the Point Stevens Light still stands as a beacon for ships, while also serving as a beacon of mystery for those drawn to the unknown. The story of Charles Manning and the enigmatic lights continue to ignite the imagination and debate among locals and visitors alike, a narrative forever woven into the tapestry of maritime lore. In the fall of 1937, the Round Island Lighthouse, a lone sentinel in the Straits of Mackinac, Michigan, became the scene of an unsettling mystery. The keeper, Thomas Marshall, a man dedicated to the solitude and responsibility of his post, vanished without a trace. What makes his disappearance even more haunting is the undisturbed state in which his belongings were found. Thomas was last seen performing his routine duties at dusk, his figure a familiar silhouette against the setting sun. By morning, when the assistant keeper arrived to take over, Thomas was gone. His living quarters looked as though he had just stepped out for a moment, not a man who had vanished into the night. The search that ensued found no evidence of foul play or struggle. The lighthouse was locked from the inside, his boat remained docked, and there were no signs of an unplanned departure. It was as if the lake itself had swallowed him whole, leaving no clue but the chilling silence of his empty rooms. What could compel a seasoned keeper to disappear without taking a single personal item? Did the isolation overwhelm him, or did something more sinister, hidden within the lake's depths or shrouded in the night's shadows, lure him away? To this day, the Round Island Lighthouse stands vigilant, its light sweeping across the waters as if searching for its lost keeper. Thomas Marshall's disappearance remains one of the great lighthouse mysteries, a poignant reminder of the solitude and inherent dangers that come with keeping the lights burning. Bringing our exploration of shadows and secrets to a close, We have journeyed through the tales of 10 lighthouse keepers whose disappearances stitch a patchwork of mysteries across the fabric of maritime history. From the eerie calm of the old Mangalore light during a monsoon to the chilling quiet of Round Island, and from the strange, haunting lights at Point Stevens to the silent, prepared rooms of vanished souls, these stories are united by their eerie similarities and the profound questions they leave unanswered. What do you think might have happened to these keepers? Was it the isolation, the unyielding sea, or something beyond our understanding that claimed them from their posts? We invite you to dive into the discussion below. Share your theories, suggest explanations, or bring up similar mysteries that haunt your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the Phantasmal Eternity channel, and share this video with those who revel in the mysteries of the deep. With that said, thank you for watching, and until next time, keep pondering the unknown.